Welcome to Accountable Love, home of the LoveSnobs, where love is a group journey. My name is Aziz,
I'm Jerry.
and welcome to season 4. Let's be clear here. Home of the Love Snobs, Love Snobs, Love Snobs. The Love Snobs have surfaced. You know, the people that actually use honesty to communicate. The genuine friends that refuse to let you feel sorry for yourself. Yes, those people.
You know, the friends that collect your tears every time life makes your eyes rain. The love snobs, the people that don't allow you to settle. Support your dreams, but don't support you sleeping with just anybody.
You know, the friends that are so judgmental they ask you to stay away from negative people and encourage you to surround yourself with positive people.
Yes, that friend. The friends that love you even when you refuse to love yourself.
You know, the love snobs. Yes. Welcome to season 4.
Welcome.
We had 4 amazing seasons. This is the 4th amazing season. We had 3 amazing seasons before this. Excuse me. We had, great guests. We had, we talked about
We had some interesting discussions.
yeah. We talked about defining terms in the first season. Second season, we introduced the world to the love snobs.
The third,
Third season, we talked about what?
the adult in the room, being the adult in the room.
Definitely. So, and we invited guests and we chopped it up about relationships and in our quest to basically build accountable relationships. We're gonna season 4. We're gonna invite guests to talk about being clear in a relationship. We're gonna define terms. We're going to
There's going to be a combination of all three prior seasons
definitely
to really sum it up and let's be clear on where we're trying to go in our relationships, who we are in each relationship, and make the relationship a lot more solid.
definitely. And Jerry, I mean, what's the most important ingredient you think of when you think of clarity within a relationship?
Communication.
Mhm.
Well, yes, communication is a big one. And that's it's kind of cliche because what's the most important thing in relationship? Communication. But beyond that is also knowing, accepting who you are within the relationship. I think that's really important to know who you are in each relationship, what you bring to the table, and being honest about being in that place.
Definitely.
Because if you're not, then it doesn't matter. Like, you can communicate that you're unhappy, you can communicate that you don't feel like an equal, you communicate all these things, but if deep rooted, you don't really feel like you belong, or you don't really feel like you bring anything to the table, then you could communicate all you want. The relationship is really not going to go far.
Definitely. I would say like a lot of people do go with communication, which is very important and super cliche because, everybody wants to talk, everybody wants to get things off their chest, everybody, wants to use words to, express themselves. But I would say the most important thing is faith. Never losing track the relationship is a faith. So that's the most important in being clear. Be clear about your faith, being clear about what you believe about the person, who you believe the person is. What do you believe that they bring to your life? What do you believe you bring to their life? You have to be clear about the faith of the relationship and why you're in the relationship. Because when people are secure about the relationship, they have a clear understanding of why they're in the relationship and why you're in the relationship. So they never have to second guess what's going on. And through that, of course, we're going to communicate that. So obviously that's a form of communication, but it's targeted around or centered around faith. And I think that's the most important
So
component of a relationship. So, and being clear, when I think of being clear, be clear about your faith, be clear about the things you believe in, be clear about your boundaries, be clear about the structure of the relationship and why you're actually in the relationship.
and for our viewers, I would like you to kind of explain a little, not kind of explain, I would like you to explain, when you talk about faith, you're not talking about religion.
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, I'm talking about the faith of a
But
relationship.
the belief, yeah. I think to be clear, to be clear here, I
Yeah.
think it's important to break that down, because when most people hear faith, they think about a religion.
I mean, we 2000, this is
I
2000.
know it's 2021. This is the fourth season in it.
Everybody's
I,
spiritual,
and I understand that, we may have some
like you're in the Midwest.
people that have been part of the Love Snob since the beginning, but we are also attracting new people. And, I just wanted to be clear, when you say faith, you're not talking about religion.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to be clear. You're right. It's important to, go deeper into it and be clear. But Yeah, so when I'm talking about faith, I'm talking about the faith of a religion, faith of not religion, a faith of a relationship, and knowing that you're not going to be with somebody 24 hours of the day. So you have to believe that they're in your best interest when you're not around each other, which makes a relationship of faith because you can't always touch, hold, and feel it.
Yeah.
You have to believe. So that's the most important thing. So when it comes to being clear, that's what it's about. I mean, what's some of the issues you felt you had with, when it came to clarity?
Well, not expressing things in real time. You
Mhm.
know, everyone, I'm not saying that we don't need time to kind of process things and clear our heads so that we are in the best, so that we're in the best position to have a effective conversation. But I know for myself, and even with people that I have dated or friends that I've had, we weren't always able to tackle things in real time because we were so caught up in the emotion of everything. And although we can be mature enough to say, hey, I need some time to process it, another component of maturity is also knowing that you need to discuss certain things in real time. You need to be able to process in real time and have that conversation.
Definitely.
So I think that has been in times a struggle of mine on my end, me being that person, and depending on who it is, because there's levels to it, right? And it's happened on the receiving end with a lot of people where they can't really discuss it in real time, and we're tabling multiple discussions. And again, like I said, everyone should be in the best mindset to have a conversation, but how often should we be waiting for the other person to catch up to you?
Definitely.
It gets a little draining sometimes.
I mean, that's where you talk about being in an equal relationship.
Yeah.
Making sure you're looking across the table and seeing somebody that's your equal. So you're not always what they would say dumbing down or waiting for somebody to catch up to you. You always know that you're on the same page.
Hmm.
I would say one of my greatest issues when it came to being clear was exactly what you just said. When you discuss religion versus faith, the assumption that a person knows what you're talking about, the assumption that a person is on that same page, which goes back to feeling like you're with an equal, and then you're, you know, using words that may not be defined the same way. And instead of understanding that it may not be defined the same way, I tend to get upset that they didn't grasp that concept the way I said it. Because in context, I thought it made perfect sense in the context of the sentence or the context of the paragraph or what I was talking about, the context of the discussion. But you don't realize when you take a step back how unclear that word can be because it can go either way. And obviously I've been wrong in that area. So, I had to work on those things when it came to being clear in a relationship. But for the most part, obviously clarity is my thing. I think it's very important to be clear. But I mean, that's one of the areas I knew I had to work on because I, obviously study relationships, live relationships, love relationships, and it's my passion. So when somebody is not on that same page, it's hard for me to swallow. It's hard for me to think, how could you not be into relationships where relationships are all around you? It's everything around you, you know?
Well, it's everything's around us, but also when it's something that you are totally absorbed in and something that you study, it's like you see things way clearer a lot faster than most people.
Definitely.
So it's really people trying to catch up to you and being comfortable catching up to you. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to acknowledge that someone is a lot more versed than you are, or they know more information, or they have a lot more experience. It's all good to say those things, but to believe it and be okay with it and learn from it is a whole other thing. And to be able to coexist with that person,
Definitely.
because everyone wants to play a certain role within a relationship. What role do you want to play? What role could you play? Because some roles are taken, right?
Definitely.
So it's like acknowledging that, like I am in most of my life, I'm the leader, in 95% in every area that I'm in, except for maybe one or two,
Mhm.
and it's really understanding or accepting that that's the case, and not trying to bulldoze my way into being the leader in areas where I'm not really the strongest, even though I am strong in certain areas. That's just, I'm around another person that is stronger.
Definitely. I
So,
think that is the most difficult, like measuring how strong a person is in the area that you're actually strong.
already strong and yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so it's like you have to really take a step back and say to yourself, do I really want to be with a person that's strong in the area that I actually pull my self-worth from and I pull my security from? And it puts you in an insecure place. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's an honest discussion you would have to have within relationships and being clear. Like, are you comfortable with actually having somebody take over an area that you are always been the person who provided the support in that area? You get what I'm saying?
And a
So,
lot of times the honest to God answer is no.
yeah, I mean, you gotta be real. Like
Yeah.
that does make your self worth within the relationship and feeling empowered in your relationship is based on what you're good at and what you're great at. So when that is not taken from you, and you gotta like start from the drawing board, there's that does cause a problem. So I think you just brought up a good point. Like you have to be clear about the areas you're strong and what you really don't want to be around a person that's actually stronger than you in that area.
Yeah, and being okay saying it. I know when like even you just saying it sounds crazy, right? Like you're saying like I'm
I'm not
mature.
gonna be around you because I don't want you too strong in this area.
Yeah, like it sounds like, like here I am saying that I want to be accountable in every relationship and I want to have these strong relationships and these strong foundations, but yet I'm not mature enough to say that I don't want to give up certain things because I get it, so I get self-worth from it and I'm not ready to give that up. Without, you know what I mean? Like being honest about that. Like that's really,
But
I
that's
mean,
what
it
true
shows up.
communication is. True communication is being honest with yourself. Therefore, you can be honest with other people. So, yeah,
I
honest,
guess that just saying that starts the discussion. Just
definitely.
saying like, whoa, you want to manage the money now? Like not to say that you're gonna take us like while I can agree that you are better than I am, but whoa, that's been my job for like X amount of like my whole life. Just you know what I mean? Like
Definitely.
so it is like you go into like this kind of shock, like, whoa, well, what am I gonna do? But I mean, like we know, like in every relationship, there's always
You want to take a leadership role in your relationships, and nothing's wrong with that. Because if you signing on for a job and you have
yeah,
a job description, you're not going to go to, a person that is a natural leader is not going to take uh, a pay cut, or they're not going to take a lesser role than what they believe they deserve. So
yeah.
it's the same in a relationship. You're not going to take a lesser role than what you believe you deserve. So you're
Yeah,
not
but
going
if
to
we're
go
fight,
into
well, we
something
shouldn't
with
be
such a
fighting. If you're good at it, if you're good at something better than I'm good at it, and if you have the time to do, because that's another thing too. You may be better than me. I'm not horrible at it, but you may not have the time to allocate you may not have the time to allocate to doing that role, so you may not be able to do it anyway.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? But it starts with having the discussion and being honest first and foremost with yourself, and then putting your ego to the side and really just being open about the role, the responsibility, and the goal. What you're trying to achieve. Is it really? I mean, we all connect with people to feel good, so that's a lie if you say you don't.
Definitely.
So, but to go in knowing that the goal is to make sure that we are financially set. Whatever the case, like I'm just using finances as an
Mhm.
example.
No,
Um,
that's your thing.
huh?
That's your thing.
But if finances is the place that you are the strongest at, then if it's about us being in the best place to succeed, then you should be able to put your feelings aside and just say, you know
But I
what?
think that's when you're already in a relationship. We're just talking about when you're sitting at the table, let's say first date, first time you're meeting a person as a friend, and you realize something like you don't have no business in their life. Like there's
Oh,
nothing you really could provide them because they're well rounded in areas that you are actually good at. You know what I mean? They already have all the people already, like they already hired everybody in their life for those roles that you're great at. So you realize you're sitting at the table and you're like, wait, I do that too. And I do that too. And that's where I get my self-worth. So you're more inclined to find somebody who needs that role filled in their life to give your life meaning, to give your relationship fulfillment. I mean, the reality is some people need to sit back, and that's a part of being clear here. You know, let's be clear here. We have to feel fulfilled in our relationships.
Yeah.
Once we lose
And
the
that's
fulfillment,
important.
yeah, once we lose the fulfillment, it's a problem. So if you feel like you serve no purpose in somebody's life, then you don't have fulfillment. So therefore you have to be honest with it. It has nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with that they're too good or too great or too, it's just you're not getting fulfillment because you're great at something that they already have. They either fulfilled themselves or already have somebody in their life that fulfilled that role. And you have to sit back and say, okay, I'm not a person that can fulfill this role because you already have a few people that do it. And we see it done all the time.
I mean, it's happened to me. I mean, they weren't honest about it, but essentially that's how the cookie crumbled, you know?
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I have my mother, like I'm a mama's boy. My mother fulfills a large portion of um things in my life. Like I've never need
Fulfilled.
fulfilled.
Fulfilled. She's not
Oh, fulfilled. She fulfilled.
past
I mean,
tense. You're like too old to be talking about like. I
yeah,
mean, the
fulfilled,
reality is like if
fulfilled,
your mother's very supportive, so
yeah, she still
that's fine.
fulfills the comfort that I don't like. I never really need anybody financially because I always know if I'm in a bind, she's gonna be there to support me. So I have had women that been used to stepping up when it comes down to finances and felt like, okay, why are you going to your mother when you can just come to me? And I'm like, I could come to you, we are partners, but at the same time, I have that support. So I don't need you in this instance. This is something that is just it's a bonus. And that may rub them the wrong way because they want that to be their primary role. Whereas I already have that covered. Now, obviously, I'm talking about obviously that gets passed because though I'm a mama's boy, I do understand. Like I have a wife now, or I have friends now. They're my primary priority. So therefore, they take over that role. But I'm just saying, I've had people that was insecure for the fact that I could actually go to my mother if I had to. So it wasn't a necessity. It wasn't like I needed them to fulfill that role, and that made them insecure. So in them being honest with themselves, they was insecure about that, and they had to move on because they wanted somebody who needed them in that area more, or really wanted them in that area more, and then have somebody who already fulfilled that role.
I mean, when I meet people and they don't have a support system, it's kind of like a red flag, to be quite honest.
Definitely. I mean,
And a red flag, it could be that they 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 cannot have support for a number of reasons, but it's it's kind of scary to be someone's everything anyway. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of responsibility. So when I meet someone and they don't have that support or they don't feel comfortable talking to people and it takes them a while to open up, like all those things, it makes a good movie, it makes a good book, but it's not really cool to live it in real life
definitely.
when you're really trying to connect with somebody. So
Yeah.
that's always a red flag for me if I meet someone that doesn't have support. Is like, what the hell happened along the line? And it doesn't matter where the support comes from. The support doesn't have to be your family, friends, exes, old coworkers, whatever it is. Why are you going through life by yourself? Like why don't you have other people? Why are your friends not vetting me? If I'm the new woman in your life, why are they not asking me questions and making sure that I'm the right one for you? You know what I mean? Like it's easier in the short end of it when you think about like meeting somebody that you don't have to deal with anybody else. But long term, like
All that. But when you start going out with your friends and hanging out with
yeah,
your friends and doing certain things with yourself for yourself, they're like, okay, what about me?
mm-hmm.
Or it comes back to bite you at the end. But I mean, if you're being clear, you don't want to be anybody's everything because you don't have the time.
Yeah, I really
You
don't.
want a life outside your relationship, or because you're talking about a romantic partner, right? Or
I was, yeah.
your friend, regardless. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about a romantic partner, but yeah, I guess a friend that needs you for everything as well can be a strain on your.
Oh no, I agree. So yes, I led with romantic, but yeah, even regular friends. Like if I meet a person in general and they're like going, unless they like relocated and they came to like a new city and they don't really have anybody. But even then, it's like you still need.
You did say let me. You did say when you meet a person, when I meet a person, so it could go either way. So I was saying let's be clear here, obviously. Let's be clear.
Thank you
We're
for
talking about
clearing things up
you
for
was
me.
talking about yeah, you was talking
I
about
know. I initially said yeah when you meet a person, and then as I was explaining it, I kind of went in my mind. I was going through
I know you
romantic.
was thinking romance, but
Yeah, you saw the glimmer. You saw the glimmer in my eyes.
yeah. So you
The
made
twinkle.
it general. So
But
obviously, like you're talking about romance, but in general, you know that it's a red flag for you to be somebody's everything because you really don't have the time, the patience, you're not gonna put forth all that. You don't believe that it's healthy to be somebody's everything.
no.
And that's a belief system of yours. So you're able to look at them in the face and say, listen, if you don't have anybody, I'm already don't I'm already it's already a red flag for me because you should have somebody. I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't already have a support system, already have people around them vetting me, already have something that I'm coming in and we have to merge each other's lives as a whole. And you have people that's a priority and people that you hold dear and people that I gotta fit into. Because obviously you already acknowledge anybody you meet new, you're accepting everybody that's in their life and you
Hmm.
gotta fit into what's already present. So, I
And
guess
that's
that's
okay. And that's okay. Like it's things should be at the end. Like it should be. You should be able to blend it. You should be able to, like I said, I should be able to meet their friends. They should be able to meet my friends. Like uh, it should be a I was gonna say like a community, but essentially, like if we are all on the same page, then we should be able to.
it is a community. It is a community. Why can't you call it a community? Like we look at community as if you gotta live in the same neighborhood. It's a community of people that work on one accord that actually are connected to some people, to one person that's connected to many other people, that's connected to many other people. You're building a community, which turns obviously into a society. So,
Yeah.
it's great to see the dots connecting and you obviously want somebody who's willing to, acknowledge that they have other support because you know that you can't be that person you can't be everything for that person because it would drain your battery as a whole and then you won't have the give and take
Hmm.
because you have support. So obviously you're going to get support from other people and they getting all the support from you. So once your battery's full, they're draining your battery.
Hmm.
You want somebody who's filling their battery up and at the same time you getting your battery filled up by your support. So when y'all are in each other's company, y'all in the best place y'all can be because y'all batteries are full.
Yeah.
And then y'all able to just really enter a healthy relationship of give and take, which is very important.
Hmm.
But obviously we talk about um accountable relationships and it's all about having the discussion. It's all about starting the discussion. But when I think of let's be clear here, I'm thinking of the faith of relationships. And this season, I'm sure that's what we're going to be talking about. Like, how could we use communication to explain our faith and explain the faith of being in an accountable relationship? So we're going to have topics, and all our topics are going to center around discussing accountable relationships within those topics. And that's what obviously our podcast is about: accountable love. So, in accountable love, we want to be in accountable relationships. So it's very important for our listeners to understand like all we talk about is accountable relationships. We're not talking about the relationships you're used to. We're not talking about the relationships your grandma's used to, your mother's used to, the generation after that's used
Yeah,
to.
we're
We're
talking
talking
about present, what's going
about
on right
present,
now.
accountable relationships that support you and you support them and they don't expect nothing less and they want everything. They don't just want half of you, they want all of you.
Yeah.
So, enjoy this season.
Yeah,
We're
we look
coming
forward.
at
And if
you
you
with
want to be,
topics. We're gonna be
and if you
coming.
want to be a guest, if you're interested, you can find us on social media, the Love Snobs, and send us a message and let us know if you're interested in being a guest for season 4.
Definitely. First off, go to our website at
Oh yeah, sorry.
loveisaboutlove.com
I
and you could actually fill out a contact form and say that you want to be a guest. There's a little blurb there that allows you to explain why you're sending us the email in. You just let us know you want to be a guest and we'll pencil you in because we want to talk about accountable relationships, whether you don't have one, whether you have them, whatever. We want to talk about it and we want to have the discussion. So come join the discussion. Season 4.
absolutely.
Let's be clear here. Enjoy.